Welcome! Today we're going to be creating this. Alright, so now we're back here in After Effects. So I'm just going to take the piece of footage that I got from Pexels and I'm going to drag it way down here into a new comp. See, now we have the composition in the exact same dimensions as the piece of footage, which is awesome. I'm going to set to fit so that it fits the entire screen. And I'm just going to choose a place that I like because I'm not going to use the entire piece of footage. So I'm just going to press B here and I'm going to move forward a few seconds where it's dancing around. Oh yeah, and press N to finish it. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to say trim comp to work area. And it's just going to basically eliminate everything before and after. You may see here it's actually starting at the wrong time. We can quickly fix this. Composition settings and go down here to start timecode and set it to 0. There we go. So we want these Godrays to actually follow the movement of the footage, right? So we're going to go over here to our effects panel and write Mocha. And no, that's not because we want a mochaccino, but if you double click on this thing, we have an external program that's actually great at tracking that comes along with After Effects. And if you click on the logo here, well, first of all, it's going to complain because I have this composition in a quarter resolution. So it's unsure that it's going to be able to track it properly since it's going to be in low resolution. So I'm going to press cancel. I'm going to increase it to full resolution, making sure that Mocha can track things properly. So now we're here in Mocha. So this is has its own functions. It may look a little bit intimidating with all the different buttons and stuff, but a lot of the basics are quite simple and you don't need to know much. So if you hold middle click, you can actually pan around your scene, and if you press C while clicking in and out with the left mouse button, you can zoom in and out. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go up here to the pen tool and I'm going to mask something out, something along these here lines. Just getting some nice contrast for it to track. So something along these lines. This is quite decent. Maybe we can set it up to track 40% of the pixels. By the way, if the setup doesn't look the same on your computer, it's probably due to the fact that your workspace is set to essentials. As you can see here, it becomes quite simplified. You can see here all the different elements. I like to have it in classic because that's what I learned back in the day. So yeah, you can just choose whatever you want. I like it in classic. So all these are the parameters that it's going to be tracking. And the higher up or the further down actually you get, the more detailed it becomes. It tracks more information. And it's of course also going to take more time. You can even specify how aggressive the movement is in the footage to make sure that you can preemptively track it better. So it's actually quite a lot of small motion. So I'm just going to click on that. Well, at least medium small, but it should be fine. So I'm just going to click the track button here. So now you can see it's actually slowly tracking forward. You could see the guys just slowly coming down the stairs, and the timing thing is just moving slowly along the path. As I see you tracking slowly across the screen. So now you can see it's done tracking because the line is blue and nothing's moving anymore. So now you can click on the timeline and look at this bad boy. It's just tracking along. And isn't that just plain sexy? All right, so let's go up here. Let's rename the layer by double clicking. Let's call it window because we're Captain Obvious. Let's just save by clicking on the little down to the bucket button. And now we can actually close this window. Okay, so now we're back here in After Effects. So we can click down here or up here in Track and Data and click on Create Track Data. So now whatever we've tracked within Mocha we have available here. So click on Window, press OK. So now it's going to keyframe every single bloody parameter in the Track Data effect so that we have access to it. So now let's start making the rays. Oh yeah. So let's duplicate this piece of footage here. Let's call this Godrays. Oops, not Godphrase. Wow, I really got to get better at writing. Alright, so now let's go over here into the effects panel once again. Let's say image wipe. Holy fudge, I'm really bad at writing today. Double click. And let's also apply a radial blur. CC radial blur. Double click there. Alright, so let's isolate the top layer. And let's go up to image wipe. So image wipe is awesome. So now it's looking at its own image, and first it takes away the black, and then the last thing it takes away is the white values, as you can see here. So we're just gonna increase this until there's almost only the window, something along these here lines. Something like this. We can always blur it or increase the exposure or whatever we want. So now we want to set the radial blur to fading zoom. And we want the center of the radial blur to be somewhere that we can modify, but we want it to follow the window as well. So we're going to go up to the tracking data of the Mocha AE and double click on center so it appears down here in the panel. And as you can see, there's a lot of keyframes, so this is quite heavy. And let's expand CC radial blur, and let's make a very quick little expression. So let's Alt click on center, hold Alt button down. We want it to maintain its own value, plus we wanted to add the center value of the tracking data. So now it's going to make this little piece of sexiness here. And now we can actually minimize the layer because this is very heavy to show all the time. As you can see, it's going very slow. Bam, like this. So right now the radial blur is a little bit offset. So let's put it someplace here up where. Now we can start increasing the amount of the blur. So let's say like 190. Let's be greedy. Let's really crank it up here. And it's taking a little bit of time to load. Let's take maybe take the resolution down to quarter. So see, now we're getting some rays here. Maybe we can take it over here someplace, make it a little bit more dramatic. You know, like it's really going down. We can maybe set it to screen. Let's unisolate this now. So see, we have this nice, gorgeous rays just bleeding in through the window. So maybe we think, the rays are a little bit too white and desaturated and boring. So we can add some curves over here. Let's just apply a good old-fashioned in-your-face, holy fudge, curves. Let's just apply it just after the image wipe here. Let's go over to the red. Let's just subtract a bunch of red. Go over to the blue, increase the blue, you know, get those nice blue hues. Maybe the green, we can play around with that. Maybe it becomes a little bit too purple, something like this. So now we have some awesome rays that are actually following the window, and you can apply this principle to basically every piece of footage. As long as you can track the light source that you want to emit rays, you can basically do it on anything. And that is just plain awesome sauce, right? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm looking forward to see what you guys can create with this technique, with these guard rays just following along. And I hope that you have a wonderful day with some cheese.